Please, marry me. As I entered a cafe on a business trip, my eyes were immediately drawn to a man proposing to a woman, holding a bouquet of bright red roses. But to my shock, that man was my husband. Blinking in disbelief at this unexpected scene, the woman, a stranger to me, shyly smiled and nodded in agreement. My husband beamed with joy. "Congratulations!" Without thinking, I raised my voice and clapped, and the other customers joined in the excitement. At that moment, my husband, noticing me, went pale and froze. Approaching them, I handed her something, and her face lit up with a broad smile. "I'm Sophia, 48 years old. I've been married to my husband, Jake, for 25 years. Our son, Mark, was born 2 years after we married, but Jake hardly ever helped with housework or childcare. I raised Mark while working. Last year, Mark got a job, moved out, and became independent. Now, he's my partner at work. I was looking forward to enjoying life alone with my husband, but on his days off, he'd start drinking beer in the afternoon and play games on his smartphone. Often spending time alone. Why don't we go see a movie for a change?" "Huh? Hanging out with an old wife like you is boring. Playing games is 100 times more fun." "Well, excuse me." "Oh, got a message. I'm going out to hang with friends." Lately, Jake would dress up cheerfully, humming a tune, and often head out somewhere. It was lonely, but I thought this was just how marriages evolve over the years. Then, one day, after finishing work at a business location, I entered a cafe for lunch and saw a man on his knees in front of a woman. "I'll definitely make you happy. Marry me, please." He held a bouquet of bright red roses, proposing to a woman in her late 20s. Could it be? Moving closer to see the face connected to that familiar voice, I realized it was unmistakably Jake. What is this? What's going on? Too stunned to believe what I was seeing, I thought I was dreaming. As I stood frozen, the woman shyly spoke. "If you're okay with someone like me, I'd be honored." The woman, her cheeks flushed with a rosy hue of happiness, accepted the bouquet of red roses from my husband. She looked absolutely ecstatic. My husband, too, was grinning with evident joy. "Congratulations on your engagement!" I couldn't help but cheer and clap, and the other customers joined in the celebration. The cafe filled with well wishes and congratulations. Looking at my husband to gauge his reaction, he quickly averted his eyes. "I'm sweating from the nerves, excuse me for a moment." Jake began wiping his face with a napkin, but his sweat showed no sign of stopping. Ignoring him, I offered my business card to the woman. At first, she was surprised but then smiled warmly. "Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to be of help. Feel free to contact me anytime." Jake, oblivious to our conversation, asked a waiter for a fresh napkin to wipe his sweat. Losing my appetite, I left the cafe and sat on a bench in a nearby park, unable to do anything but stare blankly. This is the worst. Should I have confronted Jake right then and there? The scene replayed in my mind, filling me with sadness. Finally calming down, I took out my phone and dialed my husband's number. But there was no answer to my calls, just the ringing. I couldn't leave a message either, as it didn't go to voicemail. The next day, returning home from my business trip, the house felt eerily quiet. A sense of foreboding led me to check the closet, where I found my husband's belongings gone. On the living room table lay a completed divorce application and our wedding rings. "I refuse to part ways without hearing your reasons." Driven by a desperate need to talk to Jake, I kept calling him relentlessly. Finally, my husband answered the phone. "Stop calling me so many times, it's annoying." "Do you intend to leave me without saying a word, after 25 years together?" "I thought you understood when you saw me proposing yesterday." "What's your reason for leaving me for that woman?" "I'm sick of seeing a wrinkled old hag like you. I want to enjoy my second life with a young woman." His mocking tone was unbearable. Do men prefer younger women? I couldn't grasp the meaning of our 25 years together anymore. Feeling that further conversation was futile, I was about to hang up when my husband said, "Wait a minute," stopping me. "The woman I proposed to yesterday, Emily, was so moved by your business card. I didn't know, but the wedding venue you work at is quite popular." "Yes, it's booked for the next 6 months." I had given her my card in a spur-of-the-moment sarcasm, thinking it might enable future contact. But even though I said, "Feel free to contact me anytime," booking the venue, if possible, would be a matter for the distant future. "Exactly. So, make her happy by booking the most expensive venue for the wedding." "Excuse me?" "Think of it as a parting gift. Keep it a secret from Emily until the day I want to surprise her." His absurd request dumbfounded me. It's impractical to arrange a wedding without the bride's knowledge, but Jake wouldn't listen to my protests. "Just do it, and you better find someone good for yourself too." He said his piece and hung up. Confused and overwhelmed, I felt an emptiness growing inside me. I couldn't bring myself to sign the divorce papers, just watching time pass. Despite my heart being wounded by such sadness, my indifferent husband left daily messages, asking, "Have you filed the divorce papers? Did you secure the wedding venue?" His insensitive attitude slowly turned my emptiness into anger. Curiosity about the woman he chose led me to investigate, and I began to understand his reasons. "I see, that's how it is." Then, I made a decision. Coincidentally, a cancellation opened up at the desired wedding venue, so I called Jake. "I want to hand over the divorce papers and have secured your desired venue for the wedding in 3 months. Come over to discuss. I don't want the staff to know we've separated." "Finally coming around, huh? Don't you start begging." "I'm over it, don't worry." Relieved, Jake came over in high spirits at dusk. I served his favorite beer in the living room and handed him the signed divorce papers. He was visibly pleased. "Our last supper, I guess." "It's a bit different, but sure. I have your favorite wine too, have some." I opened the wine, and as he relaxed, I asked what I'd been curious about. "So, how did you meet her?" "I met Emily through a game on my smartphone." "Why ask?" "I want to follow your example and find someone good. I'm curious about how you charmed a woman 20 years younger." "She was naive, so a bit of kindness and she fell for me right away." "Wow, charming and popular men are different." Flattered by my praise, Jake began to elaborate on how they met. They became close while chatting during a game. "Turns out, she's a successful CEO. Just between us, I'm not into her looks, but she's rich." "So, you fell for her personality?" "Not that either. I wouldn't bother with such a strong-willed, self-centered woman if she weren't wealthy. I proposed because with her, I can live a life of luxury without working." "You're quite shrewd, aren't you? But you managed to win her over, so you must be quite something." "Thanks for the enlightening story." Jake spoke smugly. After hearing his story, I brought up the division of assets, and he said something unexpected. "She's loaded, so I don't need anything. I'll give you everything, including this house." Saying so, he even wrote a memorandum to confirm it. "All the shared assets and the house are really okay for me to have?" "It's a gift for your lonely future. Be grateful. But you handle the wedding invitations and everything else." Jake even had Emily's measurements and the guest list ready. "Just tell her relatives it's my first marriage. Don't invite mine." "Understood. I'll make it an unforgettable wedding." Jake left with the divorce papers, skipping away happily. I prepared meticulously for the big day. 3 months flew by, and it was the wedding day. I informed the unsuspecting bride, Emily, that it was a surprise wedding for her and led her to the bridal room. She donned a white wedding dress, and the venue buzzed with celebration. As the master of ceremonies, I announced into the microphone, "Now, let's welcome the bride and groom." The wedding march began to play. Then, my husband, dressed in a white tuxedo, and Emily, slowly made their entrance into the venue. At the vows, Jake declared loudly, "I will cherish you for life." But Emily remained silent, her face downcast. "What's wrong, Emily?" Shy? Just a bit. Jake spoke to her, peering into her fidgety face, but Emily kept her gaze down, trembling slightly. Suddenly, the photographer, who had been capturing the ceremony, approached and spoke up. Dad, don't rush her. Your father, you mean Jake? The photographer was none other than my son, Mark, who often helped me with my work. Emily was shocked. No way, that's not true. Don't say weird things. Forgetting me because you divorced Mom? Anyway, congrats on the remarriage, Dad. The crowd murmured at Mark's congratulations. Panicked, Jake signaled me to do something. I winked and gave a signal. Immediately, the lights in the venue dimmed, the music stopped, and the white wall displayed an image of a drunken Jake. It was a recording of the conversation between him and me from 3 months ago when he came to pick up the divorce papers. I easily won her over because she's all about work and gaming. Even though she's young, she's not pretty, not my type. Such a strong-willed, self-centered woman, I wouldn't bother if she wasn't rich. As these disparaging words about Emily, uttered by Jake to me when he was recounting their courtship, echoed through the hall, the faces of the guests turned towards each other, reflecting shock and disbelief at the unflattering words and expression of my husband. Emily's cheeks twitched, and she crushed her bouquet. Stop it! Stop this now! Enough with the disrespect. Emily, don't get it wrong. This is fake. Someone's harassing me. Sweating like when he saw me at the proposal, Jake turned pale. It's the uncut version I recorded. Forgotten about it? This is a joke. You can't ruin my happiness. Enraged, Jake moved toward me, but Mark held him back. I smiled and bowed to the guests. Apologies for the late introduction, I'm Sophia, Jake's ex-wife. Emily's family was told it's his first marriage, but that's a lie. He discarded me after 25 years together. Such a terrible person, isn't he? I feel so foolish for being deceived by a man like this. Emily agreed with me, leaving my husband wide-eyed and bewildered. What do you mean? On the day you proposed to Emily at the cafe, she had given me her business card too. So, I was the one who contacted her for the wedding dress fitting. I gave you Emily's measurements. Like you can prepare a perfect wedding dress with just that information. I took the opportunity to meet Emily and showed her this video. 3 months ago, she trembled with rage, biting her lip and swearing, I can't forgive Jake. I'm going to confront him right now. I told her about Jake's secret plan to gift her a wedding, suggesting that if she wanted revenge, she should do it where he couldn't escape. How deceitful. You're one to talk, pretending to be single and proposing to her for her money, aren't you? Damn it! You've ruined my big day! You'll pay for this. Too bad. You might not be safe before you even get to me. Not just Emily, but her relatives too glared at Jake, encircling him. Realizing his predicament, Jake shrugged off his son and, pale-faced, began to prostrate before her relatives. But no one was there to defend him. Jake, look at me. When Emily spoke, it must have seemed like a lifeline to him. Really? You're forgiving me. But before he could finish, Emily slapped him hard, leaving a bright red mark on his cheek. Ignoring Jake, who was now crouching in pain, Emily bowed deeply to me and the guests, saying thank you for everything, and then briskly left the venue. What a scene we've had. With the bride gone, today's ceremony is cancelled. Please take your gifts back. Don't you dare do this. My husband, his cheek still marked, tried to lunge at me, but our son restrained him again. In fact, it was I who had suggested to Emily to return the gifts. So, our staff was ready to refund them at any time. Forget not, you owe me $2 million for cheating. And of course, she'll demand her share. Seriously? And there's more. The wedding cost $100,000. Pay in full, please. That's too much. It was your gift, right? Are you that dense? My gift was just securing the place. Oh, sorry. I got the wedding cost wrong. Jake relaxed briefly, then said smugly, see. The price I mentioned was before tax. With tax, it's $110,000. Please pay by the due date. That's impossible. No discounts available. At least give back my house. That's already sold. How was it? An unforgettable wedding, right? Ah, this is the worst. Oh, everyone's gone. So, we're done here. At my signal, the venue was quickly cleared. All that remained was Jake, in his pitiful white tuxedo. He collapsed as if his soul had left him. His life ahead would surely be tough. I used the money from the house Jake transferred to me to buy a small apartment, starting my life alone. Having my own space made me realize how much I had been controlled by my husband. Work was going well, and I was promoted, now in charge of a large venue. It feels like my luck has been rising since leaving Jake, and I'm looking forward to enjoying life to the fullest.